Introducing the man himself. Go ahead, man. You do what you do. Let them know who you are and your background.
I am my main man, KEION. KEION Tyree McDaniels. Born in Okinawa, Japan. Raised in Hampton, Virginia. I went to Hampton University from 2000 to 2005. Brother of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, Incorporated.
Cool.
Yep.
And what are you doing now, sir?
What am I doing now? I earn money and I pay my bills by being a site manager for a hazardous material pharmacy on an Air Force base.
And personal business?
Personal business, I do spoken word. I'm a spoken word artist. I'm quite poetic when I'm ready to be.
Okay. And you have your own app?
I do have my own app. It's called My Main Man KEION. Put spaces in between it. My Main Man KEION. Right in your app store, Google Play, everything.
What made you decide to go to Hampton or HBCU?
What made me decide to go to Hampton was actually 103 Jams. I didn't know anything about college. Somehow the idea of college just missed me my entire childhood. I didn't watch A Different World. I didn't watch college sports. I just wasn't into it. For some reason, I was on an island that just didn't involve collegiate activity. My parents, I have 2 parents and 2 step-parents, and 3 of them were in the military. They were all in the Air Force, so I kind of thought that was what I was going to do if I was going to do something, but I wasn't really thinking beyond graduation. So one day I was at work. I was a bagger in high school, bagging groceries at a grocery store, and I went out to my car on my break, and I heard the radio station saying that Hampton University was accepting people on site. And it was to the point where the deadlines for filling out financial aid and everything were almost up. So I went home and told my dad, hey, you know that school down the street in Hampton? Yeah, they're supposed to be accepting people on site. And so we just drove up there immediately, and I drove up there in shambles, really. I was in there in my hood paraphernalia. I had my hair knotted up. I went in there all bad, man. I was filling out the paperwork while they were talking, but I had a good GPA. I had good SAT, so they let me in, and the rest is history.
All right, and
It was a very long answer, wasn't it?
it works.
All right.
So, what made you decide to become a brother of Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated?
It's a long story why I decided to become a brother of Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated or join Greek life at all, but to make it simple, my friends pledged their sophomore years. Many of my friends pledged their sophomore years, and I found out a lot of my other friends were going to be pledging their junior years, so I wasn't going to have no friends. So I was like, well, I ain't got nobody to hang out with. Well, I'm going to just do what y'all doing. Y'all going to do the Greek thing? All right, well, which one is the best one? So I started doing my research at that point and figuring out which one fit me the best. And it turned out to be the Alphas, and I'm glad I made that decision. Best decision I made.
Cool. All right, so I guess that goes into how you met Yancey. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Your version.
My version of how I met Yancey. I met Yancey in becoming an Alpha. It just so turns out that he's my back. And just to fast forward, me and Yancey we're both business majors. We ended up graduating at the same time and sitting right next to each other and dancing across the stage together. That was live, so how that worked out, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, he had my back the whole time from the time we became Alphas to when we graduated. But yeah, when I met him, he was developing the idea of New Face Entertainment. In fact, at the time, it was called Straight Face Entertainment. Him and Sean were working on it at the time, and I didn't really know how big his vision was. I didn't really understand everything that he was going for. I thought he was just trying to maybe, look to make money throwing parties. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people were, but it was, he had a lot of other intentions that I came to see later in the game, and it was something that was encouraging to watch as a 20-year-old, 21-year-old at the time.
Got any stories? Anything you'd like to share?
Any stories about what exactly?
Our relationship, our friendship, your friendship with Yancey. Anything just pops in your brain? Let's talk about the story. Your first time coming. Well, not your first time coming to New York, but your first time coming to New York with me.
My first time going to New York with Yancey was in it was in the winter of 2002, about to be 2003. I went up there on Christmas break. We were on Christmas break for school, and I drove up there to celebrate New Year's with him and his people, and we were under duress a little bit.
Under a little pressure.
Yeah, we were under a little pressure, man. But it was a road trip, and we got to know each other a lot better because you learn somebody in a car for 8 hours. You know what I'm saying? So we got to chop it up and learn each other. We kind of figured out that we always had like a good cop, bad cop type relationship. Like I'm the calm one and he's the fire. I'm the water, he's the fire. You know what I'm saying? And we balance each other out well when it's time to get things done in that way. I remember when we were going up to, we had pulled into the city and we was with him and his people. He from Queens, and we had his homies from around the way. His homies that stayed home. So sometimes the homies is a little bit rough around the edges. The homies that stayed at the crib. So we was rolling down the street and some cats on the street had did something. They did something that rubbed everybody in the car the wrong way. They flexed a little bit, and the homies, they just got out the car, and Yancey was driving, and he was like, yo, I'm about to get out the car, we about to handle this. And he told me to get in the driver's seat and drive the car like around the block and like circle the block. I felt like he was I felt like they was about to have beef, and he told me to stay in the car. I was like, I'm not staying in the car, I'm getting out with you. So, you know what I'm saying? I think that was I ain't gonna tell you how the rest of everything went, but we had a good time. I learned a lot. You learn a lot about somebody when you see their family, where they grow up. I went there, man, and they showed me all the love in the world, man. As aggressive as the New Yorkers are, man, they got a lot of love, man. We went, stayed with the grandparents, man, fed me, man. It was just a good time, man. Like we bonded a lot, man, the whole time. So yeah, man, me and Yancey got a lot of stories, man. That's my dude.
All right, so being Greek and seeing the relationship between Alphas and New Face and how we kind of blend that together and how I try to, in my mind, I'm trying to show a separation, but then also blend them together. How was that from what you saw, doing business and, obviously you were there with the situations with, the cabarets and contracts and stuff like that. So how was that for you?
Well, when you're in a fraternity or an organization, it's a what's mine is yours type of relationship that you have with your brothers. So with New Face, we were almost, if you were an alpha, you were pretty much you were honorary New Face almost. You were New Face adjacent. You know what I mean? Like the two were hard to tell apart sometimes. Many people don't know this. Like half the time that we were on the yard during our tenure, we were suspended. Like nobody knew that. You know what I mean? Because we hit it well. Everybody used to wonder why y'all don't ever wear any paraphernalia. It's like we couldn't. We wasn't allowed. We were suspended. But you couldn't tell because Yancey had an entertainment company, and we would just use New Face and put out black and gold flyers with the New Face logo. It would be a New Face party, but it would have all these Easter eggs that said it was an alpha party. It would have some kind of ice cold reference, some kind of pyramids or something like that. But it was, in fact, a New Face party. New Face was going to make the money off of it. They were providing the service. They were providing the venue and the DJs and everything that had to do with it. So my experience as an alpha on this campus would have not have been the same without New Face Entertainment and without Yancey being on my line and in my chapter. Those two went hand in hand, and it worked out very well for all parties. The two just kind of helped each other out, and it actually plugged a lot of us with people in other organizations because New Face was almost like the campus's giant fraternity / sorority because it just combined people from all walks and all organizations. So it just connected a lot of people where they wouldn't otherwise be connected.
Cool. We talk about the project often, so I wanted We talked about the documentary.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to get, I guess, your perspective for trying to explain to the people what this project means or could mean, this documentary.
In terms of the This Is Why project, first of all, I didn't understand, even though I was there for it, I didn't really understand how much New Face was doing, how far off the branches went in terms of what got planted, in terms of the seeds that got planted. So I was watching an interview with Jay-Z's engineer, Young Guru, recently, and he said that for most people, the general format is you go to school for 12 years, then you may go to school for another 4 years, go to college, and then after that, life starts. But he said, he went to Howard, and he said at some point a light clicked on for him that, oh, life already started. And I think that's what Yancey captured while he was at Hampton, that life already started. I could incorporate these lessons now. And he started putting that into effect and getting people to exercise and apply those things that they were learning in the classroom and come into their adulthood in a way that was actually applicable. So I think that This Is Why documentary is meant to encapsulate that and show the gravity of that kind of insight this early, and to inspire people to do more and be more beyond just the classroom and the academics. You can do a lot more with this experience, and you can start off in your journey to become who you're going to be a lot earlier. You don't have to wait until your graduation day. You can form those relationships now. You can cultivate those attributes now. And I think it's going to be very powerful to see what this does in terms of getting people to college and getting them to make the most of their college experience.
All right, and let's say you're speaking in front of a class of an assembly of high school students, and you want to send a message out to the masses about college and college life. What would you like to tell them about going to college?
College was easily the best decision that I made in my life. It was the foundation for all the other good things that would happen beyond that. So if you don't know, let me start over. If you don't know what you're going to do, you have time to figure it out while you're in college. College is like a crock pot. It just slow cooks you. It extends your childhood a little while longer to ease your transition into adulthood. So take that extra time, expand your network, learn yourself, and just go out here and be the best you can be at your nearest university.
Sounds great, sir. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Good job.